welcome to Nerd Out. This first episode is going to be a bit different. I am Mike, your host, and also your other host is Mac or Mitch. I was waiting for him to say something.
I don't care what you call me. Mitch, Mac, Paddywhack.
I'm going to call you Mac because that's what I call you.
I'm just going to tell you right now, I have my Bose headphones in, and one of them isn't working, and it's frustrating.
Well, you sound fantastic, by the way. I just want you to know.
Well, I guess I only need the one then.
That's true. We only need the one. And who we are missing tonight, though, is Tyler.
Yeah. Tyler's lazy and doesn't like to read text at all, and had a week to watch he literally had 24 hours to watch the last episode and did not. We even gave him a 2-hour notice. And don't cut this out because I want him to know how upset I am.
It's not getting cut, I promise.
Okay. Because this show is so great. And, how do you not? I don't know.
By the way, the show he's talking about is Bly Manor, which is our main focus for tonight.
Sorry.
All right. So, in today's first episode, this is the first episode of the podcast, Nerd Out. Which is, like I said, mainly the main premise here is when us three are together, Tyler, what we're going to do is, at the end of this show, we're actually going to pick a movie.
One of us. You're going to pick it.
Okay, I'll pick it. So I'm going to pick the movie, and the other two, we're all going to watch it, but I'm going to explain why it was so good, and I'm going to do the premise, or just the synopsis, right? Synopsis? Synopsis. I'm going to talk about the episode, the movie, okay? That's what I'm going to do.
Do you want me to step in here a little bit and help you out?
Yeah.
So basically, week to week, one of us is going to pick a movie that we love, and the two who did not pick the movie are going to watch it and nitpick and tell the person why it sucks. Even if it's a movie they love, they have to watch it trying to hate it. And then the person who picked it will have to defend it. And it will lead to arguments that make no sense for sure.
Right. Yeah. And that's what the rest of this this show is going to be all about for anyone listening who wants to stick around and continue to listen. But this first episode, it's special because we also love Bly Manor. So, first impressions, this will be our first note here. First impressions of Bly Manor. Mac, I'll let you go first.
First impressions as far as just when it ended, what I was thinking?
Right.
Holy crap. It surpassed my expectations. It literally left me speechless. There was about a half hour that I just kind of was walking around my apartment, just what am I doing with my life?
Yep.
It's so good.
Yeah, I have to say mine was pretty close to that. Are you done with your first impressions?
I mean,
because go all out, man.
I don't know how to describe my first impression. It really made me look at life differently, honestly. I don't think I've ever watched a movie or show that's made me sit back and think about life and death differently before.
Yeah, I remember when I finished it, I immediately texted you. No. And I refused to believe what I knew he was trying to say because
dude, I was getting so frustrated. I was like, dude, I know that you know this. What was your impression?
It was watching it, I kind of just was like, and then when I finished it, and then we talked about it, and then you made me realize what I already knew, but I refused because I was like, listen, I'm man enough to say I cried. I cried too. Listen, okay, if
dude,
you didn't
Kelly
cry,
just finished it, and I teared up again. Right. I knew what was coming.
If you don't cry in Hill House or Bly, but especially Bly, because that's what we're talking about right now, then you have no soul, okay? Or you just are like the 80 million people that are in different Facebook horror groups that I'm a part of that are like, well, it was stupid because there weren't jump scares and it was too complicated to understand.
Dude, I don't even think it's the jump scares. That is bane of my existence. But
yeah, mine too.
no, I think this is a show where, like, if you don't actually pay attention and watch it, like, you can't be on your phone
Mm-hmm.
half the time, like, even just glancing at it.
Listen,
Because there's so many subtleties. Like, if you
right.
miss one thing.
Well, and you also miss all the hidden ghosts in the background. But like, I'm guilty of that, man. Like, I will, if I start to kind of feel myself getting bored or like,
Yeah.
just like, all right, I know what's gonna happen. I'll get on my phone. But yeah, I don't know. I mean,
But there's people, I mean, I've watched things with people who, like, will just be on their phone all the time. And I'm like, how are you watching this?
but anyways, how it made me feel was like for like the first 3 days after finishing it, I was like, dude, life, man. Like, and we'll get to like what the meaning of the show was, and even Mike Flanagan has come out and said what he was trying to say with the show, which was pretty close to what me and you.
Was it? I didn't see
Yeah,
what he said. I
yeah,
was going to say, I was talking to somebody else about it, and I brought up what you and I had discussed, and they were like, oh, I hadn't even thought of that. So I haven't talked to them further about what their thoughts were, but I'm like, so many people got so many different things from this if you actually are smart enough to understand it.
right. Yeah, no, yeah, he came out. I think it was the Hollywood Reporter, and kind of said like this is what the meaning was. But it was extremely close to what me and you said, so
What
I
did
could
he
look
say?
for it. But
Do you
basically,
remember?
see if I remember correctly. It did have to do with the meaning of what true horror is, but at the same time, he
Did it
wanted
really?
to, yeah, he wanted to also talk
Good.
about like a gothic romance. You're like
Mm,
this is what gothic romance is. Gothic romance is the fear of losing.
yeah.
Like normal romance is like, oh, look at that. Oh, so beautiful. No, and gothic romance is like, I mean, gothic's in the word. We all know what goth means. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
We've went through that phase. Well, some of us went through that phase. I mean, it basically is. It's like everything's crap. Love is a
So,
lie.
no, that's interesting that he said that.
Yeah, that's the first impressions between us two.
Something else I want to say about Bly Manor
Go
compared to
ahead.
Hill House. I know that Hill House and Bly Manor are two different shows, but this just speaks to like the gravity of Bly Manor and how like emotionally impactful it is. Hill House I watched in one day when that came out. This took me like 4 or 5 days to actually watch because I'd watch an
Yeah, it
episode
did.
and I'd be like, I have to like relax and like that's how powerful this was.
I remember you texting the group, and I was like, "Don't say anything, because
Yeah,
I haven't finished it yet. And if you spoil
yeah.
one thing for me, I'm
Oh
gonna
no,
fly
this
to
is
Massachusetts and slap the hair off your face."
and this is another show. Like usually, I'll say stuff that like will get people's expectations up. Well, I'll be like, "Oh my god, this is amazing." I tried so hard to avoid that. I just wanted the
All right.
people to experience it.
Well, you let me experience it, and I love you for it. So everybody is comparing Hill House to Bly Manor because reasons, I guess. And obviously, we know that it's two separate series, right? So
Hmm.
it's like they're not connected. Netflix even made sure they weren't connected because they're not in the. It's not the Haunting of Hill House season 1, then the Haunting of Bly Manor season 2. No, it's the Haunting of Hill House. That's it. The Haunting of Bly Manor. That's it. And they're
The only thing
two.
that connects them is the haunting of.
Well, that and the actors
Yeah,
are the same,
yeah.
and the writer and
I
director.
think,
But
I think people, after Hill House came out, I remember thinking, like, it'd be really cool for Mike Flanagan to do, like, an American Horror Story anthology type series for Netflix. And then, like, I saw an interview where he said that. So I think people maybe were kind of expecting connections to the first season like American Horror Story does, but it's not. It's, I don't
no,
know, man.
and
You can't, like, tell everybody, don't watch this and expect Hill House.
why is it good that it's different? And from I want to hear like your perspective on why it's good, why it's different.
Okay, so Hill House was more of the like stereotypical like horror genre for me. The pacing of it was much more of like the horror feel. This one was a straight up love story with ghosts in the background. The difference is substantial. So I think that's maybe what people expect is like go in getting that Hill House type of feel with the like pacing and the lighting and everything and the scares in it. But this is a study of people and what they will do for one another. I just was thinking about this, the comparison between Hill House and Bly Manor. Hill House was so much more fast paced because it had two stories going on simultaneously.
Right.
It had the past and the present like side by side. This one had a narration, but it didn't have the this is what's going on now, this is what
Right.
happened then. It
Well,
was just this is what happened then.
yeah, it was like,
Making
here's
it slower, but it's way more intimate that way.
spoiler alert, because, and I'll give it about 2 seconds, because what I want to do is, next I want to go to my favorite character, but we should establish at least a little bit of background here and not just kind of leave people in the dark. But, you know, Danny, we know, is really the main character, and then you've got Hannah, and you've got, oh God, Miss Jessa, you know. I just want to get these names out of the way so that way, you know, like, we at least know what we're doing, or it sounds like we know what we're doing, you know. But
you've got Henry, who's the uncle.
Right.
You've got Flora, you've got Miles, the 2 kids. You've got Owen, the cook. Danny, the au pair. Miss Jessel was the au pair before Danny.
Yep.
The gardener's name always
Jamie.
We
said Peter.
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 Yeah, Peter Quint. Yeah.
Who's played by probably one of my favorite actors from this series, Oliver Jackson Cohen.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say it. He's won me over, man.
Is he actually is he American?
No, he is English, but in this series,
dude,
he did.
I had no idea. Because he was English or American in the first one, and then he was like Irish in this one. I was like, it's so good.
And when this is the thing. Yeah, a lot of people think it's Scottish or Irish, and he's not Irish. He's actually Scottish.
Yeah,
which is why it sounds a little thick. And he does a fantastic Scottish accent. I don't know if he's from close to that area. From what I said, it's Westminster, London. Obviously, we're not from there, so I mean, I know London's kind of farther away from.
You sound like you're from London.
It's far away from Scotland, far enough away from Scotland.
His accent was the most believable.
I thought so too. Well, there was really only, I'd say, maybe one fake accent or two, because I believe Carla. Oh my God, I always butcher her name. Yeah, Gugino. I think she is. She's from, I believe, California.
Yeah, her and Elliot from E.T. were the only fake accents.
Yeah, and Henry Thomas, he's from actually Texas. So, and they weren't terrible, but I noticed they kind of kept those two to as minimal, scenes as possible, just because. And then I'm assuming that just to make sure Victoria, is it? Oh man, how do you say her last name?
Dude, I honestly have no idea what her name is.
Victoria Pedretti, who played Danny.
I'm learning this now.
They just kept her as American. I don't think for plot purposes. I think it's just because they're like, listen, she's going to be a main character. It's for some reason Americans can't do English accents, but English actors can do great American accents. So let's just go with it. But
I don't know. I disagree.
English accent.
I think it was based off the book.
Well, that's true too. It could be.
So
yeah, but he does take books and he kind of twists his own turn on it. I mean, look at Dr. Sleep, or Gerald's Game.
Did he change anything in Gerald's Game?
Well, I think from what I've listened to people who've read the book, but have also watched the movie, he puts a little of his own flavor in it, because he's a great adaptation director. We are, but I'm just saying Mike Flanagan's a great adaptation director.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, yes, so we don't squirrel anymore. We pretty much covered actually really all the characters. I mean, we said Owen, right? Who's the cook? Okay, so the only other two we didn't cover, I mean, really...
The parents.
Well, the parents... The only other one you really need to know about is Katie Siegel, who plays Viola. Who is
Viola,
also, right, Mike Flanagan's wife. You know her from anything he's ever done pretty much after they met. Spoiler alert, she is the lady in the lake. I know, shocker. So anyway, that's really the basis of the covers, why I wanted to do this. And the reason why I want to do this is because the next point we're going into is who your favorite character was. Yeah.
You answer first. I think I know who yours is.
Well, see, listen, I'm a huge fan of, like I said, I'm a huge fan of Oliver. So I really wanted to like Peter, but then he was doing such good role playing as a D-bag. But anyways, I wanted to like Peter because I really like the actor. But, dude, that guy, man, it's hard to like him.
Was he not perfectly splendid?
Oh, that line. I don't know.
Dude,
I mean,
I swear to God, I'm the only person on Earth who was not
you are
annoyed
the
by
only
that.
one. You know why?
Like,
'Cause
literally, while I was watching it and she said it maybe the third or fourth time, I was like, oh, this could be annoying to people, but I find it adorable.
no, this is why it's annoying. I don't want to hear Peppa Pig saying perfectly splendid, because now when my son watches Peppa Pig at night to go to bed, all I hear is, "Oh my God, the lady in the lake's behind you. She's behind you." You know, like that's all I hear now. And when I was watching the show, all I was seeing was the fat pink pig. I mean, she's a great actress. Don't get me wrong, great actress for being a child. But I just don't want to hear. I just don't want to hear Peppa Pig. Well, not. I mean, just great actor in general. But
Okay, but look at it through a different lens. Look at it as this cute little girl who's just so excited to meet somebody new and show her around her place.
No. Here's why. First of all, we're squirreling. We'll get back to this.
We're not really squirreling, though. Well, we are.
She was saying perfectly splendid because she was being controlled by Miss Jessel, who, spoiler alert again, she is...
Was she, though, at that point?
She's murdered.
I thought
Let's
she
be
was
real.
just...
No,
well, yeah, we can...
Dude,
but I thought she was just saying that. I don't think she was possessed at that point. Why would... Not
I don't
at the
know,
beginning.
man. I'm pretty sure... I mean, she just kept saying perfectly... Listen, I just watched a video recently who counted perfectly splendid, by the way, 19 times in the entire series in 9 episodes. And she said 4 of them in the first, like, freaking 5 minutes of meeting her.
That's actually not that much. Like,
it's too much. Okay,
dude, that's
wait.
like 9 hours.
Doesn't
That's
matter.
saying that
It's too
19
much.
times in 9 hours.
Too much. My favorite character is tough because I really liked Hannah Gross, like a whole lot. And I mean, not Oliver, Owen, just kind of was winning me over with his dad jokes because I mean they were really punny. I loved them.
Alcohol you later.
All right. They're punny, man.
Yeah, they're
so
good.
I don't know. I mean, I'm going to go with Hannah. I really loved Hannah, but my favorite love story obviously was between Danny and Jamie. But yeah, I'm going to go with Hannah being my favorite character, who, by the way, I called her being dead in literally the first episode when she first gave up the chance to eat food. I just assumed, well, it's a ghost story. I was like, she's dead. She's dead.
Yeah.
And then it gets to, episode 5, and it's like, bam, 5. Yep, see, she's dead. I was like, and
that was the only twist I saw. Like, but even with that twist, it was like there was a twist within the twist that had happened right before. Dude, that still gets me.
Yeah, that I didn't guess. Like that she was looking at her dead body. I just assumed.
Yeah.
Like I didn't really know what she was looking for. I mean, I had a couple things in there that I called, and
anyway, my favorite character.
Oh yeah, Squirrel. Go. Your favorite character, Mac. I knew Danny was gay. That's what I wanted to say.
No.
Second episode. Yeah. In the second episode. Anyways, go ahead.
You had to say that.
I did.
I took a
the
pause
second episode.
You were like,
listen.
No, you were like, right there. It was on the tip of your tongue. You're like, I have to get this out or I'm going to explode.
What was the second episode? And I'm like, Danny's gay. And Elijah's like, no, she's not. How would you know? I was like, just because that's how I would write it. Danny's gay. Just watch. And she was, and I was like, I told you she was gay. Yeah. She gave Jamie the googly eyes.
And the biggest hint was when Jamie first walks in and they didn't introduce each other, but the au pair felt that she had known her whole life.
Right. And I was like, that was great writing. Hey, favorite character?
Probably Jamie.
I liked her too. She had a great
I like her character. Too. I like the actress, who also hasn't been in a lot of things up until this point.
She hasn't.
And I just like her attitude towards people because it's kind of like my attitude towards people. They all suck.
Well, who did you think my favorite character was now? Because I thought your favorite character was actually going to be Hannah Gross as well.
Really? I thought yours was going to be Peter.
Okay. Yeah. Just because I'm a fan of the actor.
Dude, I was going to say Viola. Like, I'm actually kind of torn between this.
She was a good character, man. Even though she was only in for like really one episode. Well,
yeah, Jamie's my favorite.
We'll say 3 episodes. We'll say 3 episodes.
What's one?
Well, she was in a couple. She was in episode 8 for a minute, and then
it's episode 8. God. She was the only character. I mean,
episode 7.
No,
when she grabbed Danny's neck.
No, because at that point she was the lady in the lake. She was no longer Viola.
I guess you're right, but I'm just saying. Now we're going to get to my favorite part, all right? Which was the meaning of Bly Manor and why some don't get it. And like I said earlier, I can't find the exact quote that Mike Flanagan had, but it was very similar to, I wanted to do a gothic romance and show that love is a horror.
Scary.
And it is, yeah. That's basically what he said. And my meaning that I got out of it was basically what your meaning was, which is, I mean, the true horror in life is once you're gone, you're forgotten. And that's what your true fear is. Like, if I'm gone, who's going to remember me? There's only going to be so long of a list that's going to remember me before I'm just another, like, carcass in the dirt that's decayed away or, you know, and then that's it. That's all I am. So, and I'm not even in people's memories anymore. So, like that, you know, that's the true fear. Like, I can't even tell you like who my great grandfather was.
I can't even tell you who my great grandmother was on my dad's side. Like, it's more horrifying now because nobody wants to be forgotten ever. But with like our need to be praised and like our need to be in the spotlight as a society, as an individual, it's the ultimate fear. Being forgotten. There is nothing scarier, I feel like. And I don't know if people don't understand it or they don't.
I think there's that, and I also think James Wan ruined horror forever. I'm just going to throw that one out there.
Yeah, thank you.
I think he's just destroyed the genre.
Yeah, Conjuring 2 was the worst horror film I ever saw.
And if you're a James Wan fan...
His early work was good. He just sold out.
Yeah, I mean, I like Saw. Yeah. I love Saw. I love Insidious. That was like at the start of his jump scares.
No, I liked Insidious until Darth Maul was the demon. I was done at that point.
Yeah,
that was the end of me liking James Wan.
That was great. What else? He just did Aquaman recently, and that was pretty good. But you know,
because it's not horror,
right? Yeah, like he is a talented director.
Yeah,
I will give him that. I think where he faults is, and I always say he faults at his writing, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure he was right. He wrote Aquaman, I think, or he was involved in writing in it. I don't know. Probably. Either way, he's a director, so he knows what he's doing. So I'm sure he's put 2 cents in on the writing. But I think it's just he's like, well, people just want jump scares. They just want to sit there and eat their popcorn, jump for 3 seconds, go, oh, that was scary.
Yeah,
and then not really think.
That's
they
that's
just want to sit there and mind numb. Right.
It's a genre of let's drown all the sound out of a scene. And then make it so that it's pitch quiet so that any loud sound is going to make you flinch. That's not fear. That's like a fight or flight response. That's not fear.
And you know what I think about every time I'm watching a James Wan movie? Like,
and also, real quick, because I'll forget, James Wan's need to dress up his quote-unquote ghosts or demons to look so stupid. Like, in The Conjuring 2, the old guy that was haunting the house, why did he have to look so, like, overdone demon looking? Like, he's just an old guy. He's not a demon. And that stupid fucking nun. Okay, I hate James Wan.
When you watch a James Wan movie, to just make it even less, like, good, when it gets to the quiet parts, just to try and find the perfect spot to be like, I bet in real life it got to this, I would totally fart and just destroy what the demon was trying to do. Like, just, like, walking in, like, dude, oh my God, what's that sound? And all of a sudden, turn around and go,
and the demon's like, dude, I had this whole thing planned.
I was gonna scare you.
I was gonna, like, scratch the wall in the corner, and you were gonna be like, what's that? And then I was gonna make you deaf. And then I was gonna go, boogity, boogity, boogity. And you were gonna go, ah! And then I was gonna disappear.
So...
and then we were gonna cut to the next scene where it's a day, and then everybody was gonna feel safe.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's basically... So anyways, people, that's what we think of James Wan. Again, I don't think he's a talentless director. I think he got to where he is for a reason. And like, I agree with Mac. I think
I don't know if we can blame James Wan. I think the studios were like, oh, jump scares work.
Yeah. I blame the people.
Yeah.
But not you people. You people
I blame Paranormal
I'm just saying,
Activity.
listen. Well, see, we're squirreling again. All I want to say is, if you're a listener who likes James Wan, and I just said I blame you, just know I'm saying that out of frustration because I would love to make horror movies for a living, and I watch his stuff and go, come on. Anyways, nothing against you. That's just how I feel. I just realized that started off with what was the meaning of Bly Manor and why some don't get it. So again, like I said, I think the meaning is, I mean, once you're dead, you're afraid to you're going to be forgotten. And as it went along, you saw her getting forgotten. The people that knew her were dying off. Her daughter didn't see her die off, but you knew she died off because her face started to
Yep.
disappear.
Over the
Um,
years.
right. And I think that's where some people just didn't really understand it. And they also didn't understand why the ghosts were being held there, because when
Hmm.
she was dying, she refused to die. Viola refuses to
She
die.
refused to go
And
to the
they,
light. Yeah.
right. And they narrate, they say the black horse and carriage walked away. They just drove
Mm.
off to never come back again. Which, when she dies, that's why which by the way, her sister, forget her name, kills her because she, I mean, Viola is a total beat to her. I mean, she really is. But she kills her after she's dying of tuberculosis, which they call the lung.
Yeah.
She refused death. Death was like, fine, you, went away. I was like, I got other people to kill. This is the 1700s. To America, So it refused death. So death never came back to the manor. And once she died, well, like I said, she was trapped there. She then thrown, like Max said, she was thrown in the lake. She would come into the house hoping to see her daughter at her bed and take her home. And obviously her ghost would kill people by, I mean, choking them out or snapping their neck. And then their ghosts were just tied there because their death was not there to take them away.
Yeah.
So they're just stuck. Which is why when Danny, is like, this is me, or what is it?
It's me, it's you, it's us.
Right. Okay. Yes. And she's like, oh, so she accepts the Lady in the Lake into her, which is why she has two colored eyes, and that immediately is like, death is like, well, I'm back, baby, and can
Just
now
because
bring
the
everyone
other
back.
spirits wanted to go. They just
Right.
couldn't
And
because she was holding them there.
exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Anyways, people, that's Bly Manor. That our rant about it. And okay, what we're gonna talk about next is Mike Flanagan, what he has in store for us later down the road. Because, as everyone guessed, they're like, A Haunting of Hill House, it took, 2 years to get Bly Manor?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 2018 Hill House came out, 2020 Bly Manor.
Mm-hmm.
So some people were worried, like, oh no, are we going to go another 2 years like me? Or like, is he done? Or what the next book's going to be. So basically what Mike Flanagan does is he's also, now this I remember reading, and I remember reading it very well. He's already come out and said, I took these two books because they were the last two great horror novels of the past couple centuries. Like,
Mm-hmm.
this to him is these two books, The Haunting of Hill House and Turn of the Screw, which is what Bly Manor is based on, is the last two great horror novels. He did say if another another horror story comes up that he wants to adapt, which he already said he wants to, he will get with his team and they will adapt another story. And I mean, at the same time, Netflix also has this massive deal. I don't know how much it is. They did make a massive deal with him. I do know that. And it's kind of like an Adam Sandler deal where he's just making stuff for them, which, as far as like stuff coming up, there is another show. And Mac, you're right, Midnight Mass is a Netflix series, and it will be.
Okay.
And so that's what my thing is I want to get into. He is writing 6 new movies.
Mm-hmm.
Or 5 new movies in its TV series, which is Midnight Mass. That is not as important, in my opinion, as his directing, which his directing has 3 coming up. Which is
it Midnight Mass one of them?
Midnight Mass is one of them. He wrote and is directing it. And
all of them, like Hill House?
That part, not sure yet.
Because Hill House, he did every episode.
It's in production. So Midnight Mass is a horror series that will be on Netflix, releasing, hopefully, fingers crossed, 2021.
Mm-hmm.
We're hoping that COVID doesn't mess that up too.
It says it's filming right now.
Yeah, it's in production right now. So it's going to be 7 episodes as of right now that I know of, or that really we can find out. It won't be another haunting. Like, it's, as far as I understand from what I've researched, it's not the haunting of Midnight Mass. It's just Midnight Mass. So it's not going to be the haunting of. It's not attached to that. He's got 2 movies that he's directing, so we already know Midnight Mass, which is a series. Halloran. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm not reading the plots of these movies, mainly because actually both the movies, one's in development and the other one is an unknown production at the moment,
So
from what I could find.
unknown.
Right, but they are both horror movies, and Hollow Ran will be released in 2021. As of right now, we don't have a date. And then Revival is a horror movie with an unknown date and unknown plot. So, those are like what we have to look forward to with Mike Flanagan. And anyway, so that was the main purposes of this episode. How I want to end it, though, is we want to kind of go into now what our show is actually going to be all about, which is a horror or a movie game show.
Is it a game show, or is it more just like antagonizing someone for liking something?
It's like a game show,
It's two friends being to the other friend, but in a loving way.
That's fair. And I think what I'll do to be the jerk that I am, since I love horror movies so much, I think I'm going to pick a horror movie. I obviously won't pick anything off of Shudder because I don't think either of you have Shudder.
No.
So, Little Monsters on Hulu.
Really?
Have you ever watched it?
Is that the old one?
No, this is Little Monsters with who's the guy who plays Olaf in Frozen?
Josh Gad.
It's a Hulu original. We're watching Little Monsters. That's what we're gonna do. I highly doubt you guys are gonna hate it. You guys are gonna love it. But
yeah, but we have to hate it.
I know, and that's why I picked it. Watch Little Monsters next week. I prove that it's actually a great movie, and you two try and tell me it's not, because I know it is.
All right, we'll see.
Good night, everybody.